So I've got a beautiful cardstock 12 by 12 mat in front of me. And we're going to go ahead and slice the tape that keeps this shut on either side. This was one of my recent purchases from my shopping spree. And going to take that tape off so it doesn't stop us from looking at any page we want. And sometimes it is quite picky, so you got to pull that off, get rid of that. And so go ahead, grab something to work with your fingers while we go through the Paper Studio cardstock matte scrapbook 12 by 12 page. And we make a very colorful, bright, loving, huggable, snuggable junk journal out of it. So let's go ahead and grab some pages. And I want to use some of these in my scrapbooking, but I'm going to go ahead and take out one page of each color, and we're going to start working with it to make a bright, pretty scrapbook pages to put in our junk journal or junk journal pages. And you can see these have that beautiful tie-dye painted look, so I'm really excited to work with them, work with some of our ribbons, make some beautiful pages. And we're going to make some belly bands, make some pockets, and then we're going to get together all of our junk journal pages that we have been creating. And please go ahead and subscribe now and give me a thumbs up. And that way you will not miss, hit that bell, you will not miss when we put all of these pages together and bind them into a junk journal. And that video is coming up real soon, so don't miss out on that. So we have some very, very beautiful bright pages. And as you can see on the back of the cardstock is white. So we're going to have those mixed in beautiful colors in our junk journals with some white pages that will doll up as well with the belly bands and the pockets to add some beautiful color. We're going to use different mixed media techniques to add a lot of texture because I love having texture in my junk journals. And of course, we're going to be using fabric with them as well because I love it to be huggable and snuggable for my junk journals, because when I journal, it's usually when I'm snuggled on the couch, everybody else is watching TV, or when I'm snugged into bed before I drift off to sleep, I go ahead and I journal. So this one, again, is 60 sheets, and it has 20 different designs of 3 pages each. So we have 20 different pages here in front of me, or should have, and we have the remainder set aside so we can go ahead and scrapbook with that or do whatever it is we're going to do next. And if you've seen my pages before, I like working with the 8.5 by 11 folded in half. So what I'm going to do with these is, I don't even have an 8.5, I do, by me. And let's go ahead and grab out an 8.5 by 11 sheet so you can see the size page that I usually use. And we're going to work down that 12 by 12 size to get that out of the center. So what we're looking at is working with the 12 by 12. We're going to be tearing the edges or using the decorative scissors. And we're going to have belly bands. And if we move this to one side, we're going to have plenty of space for the pockets. So that's what we're going to use. We're going to use every bit of this 12 by 12 sheet to make some 8.5 by 11 pages. So first of all, what I'm going to do is I always want to tear towards the colored side. And we're going to go ahead and tear that down on both sides. What we don't use is belly bands or decoration on the blank pages. We're going to save that and make paper out of that because that is an upcoming tutorial as well. So go ahead and subscribe now so you don't miss making homemade paper out of your own paper scraps so that nothing goes to waste and everything is used again. So you see we have torn down that page to get close to that 8.5 by 11 size. Now we can make 2 belly bands out of it, or we can tear it just to make that torn edge here and use the bigger piece as a pocket. Actually a pocket large enough to go into 2 different junk journals. And then we can grunge up these sides with our ink pads, our colored markers, or leave them white if we want that bold outside look. And I'll show you with white paint how we can make that stand out forever, never have to grunge it up with dirty fingers as we journal or get that lead onto it. So you can see once I've made the page pocket area, I have shortened this down to about the 8.5 by 11 size, so that you can see when I fold that in half, it's going to be the perfect size for our junk journals. And I'm just going to go ahead and go through the rest of these. I'll show you one more, and this one we'll make 2 belly bands out of. So we're going to tear it a little bit wider on both sides, or 2 sides, 2 opposing sides of the 12 by 12 paper. And we're going to tear just the small short edge on both of the other 2 opposing sides, so that we have 2 beautiful sized belly bands and 2 small sides that we can either use to make additional paper out of, or that we can use to decorate the white sides of the paper. And as you can see with the 2 belly bands, it still gets it to that perfect 8.5 by 11 rough size that we want to use in the junk journals. So I've shown you that. We're going to go with this to where you can see it all being done without wasting 30 minutes of your time watching me do this. Again, if I can't fast forward, I hope you've got a project in front of you, and we will have fun together doing these pages. And some of these with the straight lines, you can decide whether you want it upright or sideways. So that's also something nice to play with. But of course on the belly bands, the straight lines across is a very nice look as well. And we can always keep that 8.5 by 11 sheet handy so we can see roughly where we are the first couple that you're doing, so you're making sure not to rip too much off, because this is such an exciting video when you're looking at these beautiful, beautiful colors and how that all goes together so well. And I've got a jar over here with my paper scraps. We'll reach back and put those in momentarily. And I just love some of these pages. They're paint splattered, the different pastel colors. This would be a nice springtime junk journal to work in. So you've got lots of different opportunities to add some color in your junk journals, not just all white pages for your writing pleasure, but also giving it an enhanced look with adding some color. And of course, we can put white papers over that to mute some of that down so that you're seeing all of the different beautiful options on those colors. So it's really, really gorgeous. And I think I'm going to tear this one a little bit larger, so I'm going to have a pocket. Because again, you want some of these as belly bands, some of these as pockets, and then of course some of the torn page pieces we can use as just decoration, because all these beautiful pastel colors go very well together. And it's okay to have some pages shorter, some pages longer. Some of them are going to stick out more with the pockets, the different looks on that. So it's really okay however you decide you want to tear or rip these pages, or cut with the decorative scissors. But as you can see, once we tear them, they're all going to that approximately 8.5 inch size. 8.5 by 11 inch size. All right, and see this one? A little bit shorter than the 8.5 by 11. That's okay. It allows the other pages colors to show through and really looks beautiful there as well. So some of them I do intentionally. Some of them I just want a little bit bigger pocket on. And let's move this sewing machine out of the way since we're not doing that quite yet. And we can just see that pile getting larger and larger. I think we'll do another pocket here with this darker blue. And again, a lot of people do use a ruler for this part. If you prefer using your ruler, that's great too. But I love that different edge that it gets just with a quick rip. And again, it doesn't take much time. And I just move my thumb and my back fingers along with it so that it keeps on coming. That one's a little bit smaller than the others. But again, when we tear it in half, it's going to be just perfect. Okay, maybe do 2 belly bands on this one. Or maybe even a side tuck pocket. Doesn't have to be a full pocket. It can be a nice tuck. So again, I'm not measuring. You might want to measure your first several. That way you get a feel for what those size pages are. So what projects have you worked on lately? Huh? Have you been doing much junk journaling? Are you making junk journals? And do you find that when you're making junk journals, you write in the journal that you're using more or less often? That's a good question. I tend to, when I'm making junk journals, I think I do journal a little bit more often in the evenings. I got a couple of books for Christmas that was pretty neat. It asked you to fill in questions every week for a whole year, and then you can go back each year, and it's you just write down further on the line your answer for that same question, but with your attitude or your emotion or your feeling. What's going on right then. Like one of the questions might be, what was your earliest memory that you have? Another one might have been, what was your favorite food last month? So it's lots of different questions, but journal prompts. And if you have a hard time journaling, those books are more and more popular right now. Pick up one of those in the bookstores. And that way, when you do start journaling in your own journals, you've got a lot of those questions, a lot of those thoughts already that you can start different pages on. And a junk journal is great when you go back and look at it again and again over the years. So a junk journal, I know some of us like to write our deepest, darkest emotional scars and then burn it. And that, I think, is very therapeutic as well. I do like that idea. I've used that before. But sometimes it's really, really nice to think that, okay, we're saving this for our kids. You know, what's going on in my life that I might want to share with my kids that I might not think about sharing, then I'm okay if they read in the future. Lots of different reasons for junk journals. So it's really nice to keep that in mind when you're doing junk journals. And it's okay, and it's a good thing to have several different junk journals. One that might be written to my dear kids, please read this. To my daughter, to my son, please read this. Another might just be my earliest childhood memories. Whoever reads it is great. Nobody reads it, that's great. Trials and issues that you're going through in life, if we write about them now and somebody else reads them, it may help them. It may really help to say that, you know, my kids aren't alone in what they're emotionally going through. I went through it too. Everybody goes through it at a certain age. It's hard to make friends. It's hard to have a job that, you know, you're relying on for the rest of your life, perhaps, to create an income, that you have to be an adult. and what you did to help you adult, to help you become that well-adjusted adult, or those things you wish you knew when you were a certain age, and say, read this at such and such time. It's a good thing. And we don't have all that time. We find the kids grow up. We have our lives. They have their lives. So if we journal and give it to them, it's all those wonderful things that we wish we had time maybe to share with them that we hadn't shared with them. And journaling is not just for ourselves. It can really be a useful tool for those people around us. And I love the way these papers are looking. What do you think? I am just in love with these colors. I'm so excited. And it's got that beautiful white underneath. And then these bold, beautiful colors on top. It's just brilliant. Absolutely gorgeous. Really, really happy with how these are turning out. So, I'm glad you're with me. And hope you're journaling as well. Or picking up ideas for when you do have time to sit down. Just grab that scrapbooking paper, grab that stack of paper, get out to the store right now, buy yourself a pack of cardstock, take 2 sheets from each color and rip them up, get them out, and start making your own junk journal. Or go on Etsy right now. There's lots of us with junk journals in our Etsy stores. We would love, 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 love to create one for you. Or we would love to, that one's a little bit shorter, but you can see that by the edges of it, you're going to be able to see a lot of the other pages behind it, which if this is on a page behind it, it really enhances it. So you're not missing out when it's too short. It's okay to be too short. Nothing is too short. But like I was saying, go to Etsy, buy one right now. Most Etsy sellers will get it shipped out to you and you'll have it in your hands within the next week or two. We do know that this is a now kind of society, that when you want something, you want something. We all love to receive mail. So jump over to Etsy.com, type in their junk journals, and have purchase a junk journal from someone there. My store is closed right now, so don't look for getting one of mine, but I do plan on opening it for a few months this year. But again, while I'm traveling, while I'm going here and there, I don't think it's right that you would order for me and I wouldn't be able to jump it in the mail. So order from one of my other many friends who do the junk journals. I think this one's a little too tall. Who do the junk journals, and get one and start writing in it. Or grab some paper and make one with me. If you don't have all the tools, buy one, make one, have plans in the future to make one for yourself. Okay, and I think we're down to the last page that we pulled out of there. So we are almost done with this step, and we're going to move on to making pockets, dolling up the sides. In my junk journals, we're going to measure that for sure. But I believe it's usually about 60 pages. So again, like I told you, the front and back of a page is actually 4 pages. So I'm going to finish this one real quick. I'm going to fold it for you so you can see. But this right here is, you fold it in half. Finger press it, or like I said, use your presser tool or a pair of scissors I usually use. And you have, when you make your junk journal, you have 1 page, 2, 3, 4. 4 pages off of 1 sheet. And most of my journals, we're going to count one up for you in the next video. But if I usually have 60 pages, 4 of them are on the 1 sheet. So that is that really only 15 pages? 15 sheets of paper? Maybe. We're going to look. But that's my smaller journals. You'll see some of them where I'm actually going to bind and have several in one large, huggable, lovable junk journal. But you see you have your pages. You're putting them in approximately half sheets. And then you can take your torn sheets, you can add some belly bands, you can add some pockets onto these, or you can go back to your full sheets and add some pockets onto those. So we're gonna that we have, and let's go ahead and start securing some of those belly bands and pockets down onto these pages. So we do have the 8.5 by 11 approximate size. So the length of 2 pages on the bottom is going to be approximately 11, just under, as you know, I tore it. Let's pull that sewing machine over here, and we're going to go ahead and sew up a couple of these pockets so you can see again how I do it on the cardstock with the perforated sides, and how I have it here. I'm going to take it over here and tear it similar. So you've got that same pocket size across the bottom. I'm going to leave some of that bottom showing, and we're just going to sew up down the side and across the bottom. I do believe I have my thread tied here. So I'm going to make sure that's not hooked. And put that back down. I think it was, yes. We are ready to go there. So slightly measure it, make sure I'm in line. And I'm doing a straight stitch, single stitch all the way across. I have it on the wider stitch length. Okay, and we're going to trim our threads that we started and stopped with off. And you can see the sewn line on that side. On this side, you just see that beautiful pocket that I have put here. And we can stuff this piece down in that pocket all the way across. And now what we're going to do, and with some of the bigger pieces, we can also make tags out of those. We'll do that as well. But with this, we can then fold it and have that page, or if we want on the back to go ahead and have a page, have a piece, we can go ahead, cut one similar size that's going to cover up those stitch marks. And we can tear it or we can cut it, whatever you prefer. And then I think on this one, we're going to lay some lace down as well. So we'll lay it across the bottom, trim that off. We'll lay it on both sides, maybe wrap it around the bottom. We can decide to trim that off later or keep it on top. So as you can see, I have a piece here and a piece across. We're going to do the same for a piece here. And then we're going to pop it in that sewing machine, and we're going to sew that up, and I will show you what that looks like. I like to have the sewing machine around. I like to do a lot of it with the sewing machine, but you'll see complete videos where I'm just using the glue stick or even the Elmer's glue because I couldn't find it the other day. All right, well, a couple days. Okay, so we're popping this back under the sewing machine, making sure our threads are in the back out of the way, and pulling that over. And I'm not using needles or my little clips that I told you I sometimes use, so it's wanting to walk around on me. And the lace is really for decoration. It has no other purpose. We could use it for a tuck. That is absolutely true. But it's really just decorative because I told you I like my junk journals to have a lot of texture. So I use a lot of mixed media, a lot of fabric, a lot of ribbon, a lot of lace in my junk journals. And that's why I call them huggable and snuggable. And and needle down, foot up, pivot, put it back down, and sew up that other side. Okay, and momentarily I'm going to change the thread color. That way it's not the brown and doesn't show through. But you can see that the lace is on there. Might do a little bow on this side with the lace, or put a little flower there to hold that one. That might be pretty. Maybe even tuck a pencil in that. And we'll trim those threads. And so you can see, I like to have a lot of pockets in my junk journals. A lot of different tucks and hiding spots. Oh, I like that color on the white. So let's go ahead and fold this one over. So now again, you have 1 page, 2, 3, and 4 for your junk journal. So that is a nice start, and we're going to do up these pages really quick so you can see how they look. We'll put the done ones behind me. And not all of these are going to get pockets, and I might do a few belly bands. So let's grab one of these sheets that I have torn on both. I don't think I've torn on both sides on any of these. So let's just grab one and tear on both sides so you can see that nice perforation on both sides. We're going to put the smaller piece here into our bin to make paper, and we're going to take this one and we're going to make the belly band on that page, where we can take other papers and tuck them in right behind it to hold them there. What do you think? So let's go ahead and do that real quick. And with that, I might even put a nice little rosette, because again, I like to use a lot of ribbon. So I'm going to take my rosette. I believe I got this at Hobby Lobby, $1.49, usually $5.99. This one's 2 yards, but it's more elaborate, and that's why there's less of it. But I'm going to cut right in between the rosettes. So I'm going to use 2 separate rosettes, one on the bottom, one on the top of this belly band. And I might even grab another belly band. What color do we have on the other side? Any color looks good on this paper. All of these blend and match so incredibly well. So I'm going to take that, and we're going to cut off 2 more rosettes, because I want the rosette, I think, on both sides of the page. So we're going to take 4 rosettes, 2 of these sheets of paper. We're going to put one on both sides, and we're going to have them down. We can trim that after I sew it. It's not necessary to do it before, and that way I can see it sticking out. I'm going to have a rosette here, and I'm going to put a rosette on this side. So you see I have the rosette on both sides. We're just going to do a couple of stitches to hold that down. We do have a bead in that rosette, so it is going to teeter-totter here. I think that's the right word, teeter-totter. Let's pull both threads out so I've got them out of the way. Grab my belly bands back again. Grab my paper. I do want to teeter-totter a lot with that rose on them. It wants to fold over, unfold it, pop it under there. Just need to get 5 stitches both directions to hold both those belly bands. Pull it out, trim the threads. We'll trim them better later, but you can see how that is stuck. Now we're going to do the same thing to the bottom. And I'm probably going to put a little bit of glue under the rosettes if I don't like that popping up. We'll see what that looks like and what I do. All right, so let's find those other 2. And we're going to sew these down real quick. Get the thread out of the way. Should have changed this over to white thread, working with the cardstock that shows through white. Okay, pull this out. Turn my threads. All right. Cut off those extra dangles because they are so the wrong color. And then we're going to tear off this other part of the belly band. And what do you think? And again, we will secure those rosettes so they're not flipping up like that. But we have 1 page, 2 page. We'll glue that down. 3 page, we'll glue that up and down. What do you think? I like it. I like it. All right, so that looks great. And with the other page, so we have pockets. We open it up, plenty of journaling space on both of those sides. We're going to bind it in the middle. We've got the tuck to put our papers in. We're going to turn the page. We've got lots of texture with the lace and the ribbons and the flower, and then a pocket on this side. So there's lots and lots of things that we can do with our junk journal, and we're going to put lots of those pages together. So you're going to see them come together and get bound very soon. Okay, and even if we want to take a piece of cardstock, usually don't work with red, but we've got so many bold colors, so maybe I will. I've got some pages here with me as well, so we can always use pages. So we're going to turn this shut. We've got a page. We've got a pocket on this side. Let's tear down this page a little bit. And we're going to use this page and the coloring paper to do a double pocket. And if it sticks up a little bit, that's just going to be my bookmark. So that's a-okay there too. And I think we'll sew that down. And pink clashed too much. Let's use the dark blue. There we go. And let's go ahead and sew this one down and show you how we can take the dark cardstock and make it look okay in a journal with lots of colors. Don't be afraid to use color in your journal. I've got that lined up, foot up, pivot, foot down, and then maybe even we will put, what do you think? Some of the pink ribbon with the red clash too much? What about the purple? It's really, really bold. I think with the page, that looks okay, strangely enough. Very, very strangely enough, I think that looks okay. Okay, so we are going to take this one and we are going to make this. And again, as you can see, if you've got all the tools, you pull all the tools out, there is so many, many, many different creations and variations that you can come up with. And I hope I'm just sharing some of the ideas so that you are going to find the best ideas that fit your style and needs. We're going to fold this in half, pop this out at the top, pull this over our cardstock on both sides, run it down, and be able to hold it with both sides. And we're just going to sew that straight down onto that cardstock, affixing the pockets on both sides, having the ribbon on both sides. And so we're creating actually 3 pockets. I'm going to show you momentarily. Kind of excited on this one. And again, dare to dream. Just do what feels right. Okay, lock that down, turn this around. Okay, so let us see what I have done. And we're going to trim that thread off. This thread up here is not really in the way. Let's trim that off. And then you can see we can tear the top of this right off. And we have, using our beautiful scrapbooking paper with the cardstock, we have this. We have, let me show you with a piece of paper, we have a pocket that is nice and usable. Beautiful page tag. And then we turn it on the inside. Love this. Look at this. We have a pocket here that we can use and a pocket here. So 2 pockets, the beautiful fringe, and look at that. With that page in between the bold cardstock that usually you wouldn't use in a journal and the colored paper, it really tones down that red. So if we do something similar to these 2 pages over here, you're going to come up with pages that are dark in color that actually go very, very well in a junk journal. What do you think? So another great idea. All right. So let us set that aside and keep on playing and see what we come up with next with some of these beautiful pages. And they are just, some of them I just want to leave as is, and some of them we can add to. Maybe we're going to put a pink one on the back of this, but what color do we want on the front of this? Maybe that. I think that blends in better than the solid pink, so that one is perfect. We're going to line that up together. It can run off one side. We'll tear it once we get close to that side. That way we hold the paper together. We're going to start down, go all the way across and back up. Now again, if you do not have a sewing machine, we are going to do this with a glue stick momentarily, so you can see that you can use the glue stick on the sides, but before you then bend the paper in the middle, you want to give it that allotted time to completely dry. I usually do them, set them aside, come back a full day later, 24 hours later, and then work with them, and they're sealed and you can stuff them and they work just fine as well. A sewing machine, I think the stitches are gorgeous. I just like the texture of it. So if you can ever pick up a nice used sewing machine that can do a straight stitch, you don't need anything else. Even a dull needle will work for your paper. It's only on the sewing projects that you really want to pay attention to having that sharp needle and that machine that can do the different stitches for the different textures and looks. All right, so needle up, pull that out far enough not to lose my thread again. Trim off both sides. Now we can cut or we can tear these sides here. Go ahead and you want to tear them at least a 1/4 inch away from that sewing stitch line. And there you go. And now we're going to take it, because again, it's not 1 page, it's 4. So we're going to take that in half approximately. We're going to fold that over. And you have, again, with the scissors here, I usually take the back end part and you can press that down. That way your fingers won't get sore. But look at this, 1 page, 2 page, 3 page, 4 page. Now I know you've seen me link in a lot of pockets over the last several days. You do not need to make pockets with all of these pages. So you can take several of these pages, you can just fold them up. It is not necessary to have all of these with pockets. It is not necessary to have all of these with bands. So you can fold them up. You have these beautiful sheets and you can see these edges, how gorgeous that is to see it through. And then you open your pages. You have the beautiful colors touching. You have the beautiful whites that you can write on and add to. And so many, many different ideas here. We'll put another one on there so you don't see them all the same. So here, this will give a better interpretation. Whether you fold them in right or outside right, you have the white with the colored, you have colored with colored, you have white with white, you have all of the different variations. Plus we're going to be adding graph paper, notebook paper, book paper, all kind of other things in this. You don't have to, but I like them. I like lots of different textures, lots of different looks in my junk journals, so you get that feel. So when we put all of these pages together, you're going to mix and match them and have them in different areas and different places. So your junk journal is coming together really quick with the different textures, with the different ribbons, with the different looks. And I hope you have enjoyed this video. There is so much more to come, but I don't want to take up all your time in one day. So join me again in a couple of days, and we're going to go a little bit further, and you're going to see another technique with another medium, another page, another piece, pockets, and we're going to bind them very quick, very soon here. And we're going to have twine, and we're going to put them with the outside journal covers that you saw me making. We're going to put this size, well, at least these, in with the file folder that I have fabric on the front, the back, the inside, and the outside. So I'm really excited to show you that, and then how to stuff it, how to journal in it, what we do next. Thanks for joining me today. Have a great day. Bye-bye.